Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Heavy Metal Music Theory. That was the Count of Tuscany by the Mighty Dream Theater, and we're essentially rooted in the key of G sharp, and a lot of arpeggiations to this progression. I will put up the information on the screen so you can follow along as I discuss it. But essentially what we're dealing with here is the key of G sharp and, well, G sharp minor specifically. And what we're doing is we're playing a G sharp to an F sharp, all right, which is essentially the root in the G sharp up to the 7 in the F sharp. And then we're playing a B, and then a B flat, and then back to the F sharp. So what we essentially outlined here is we go from the G sharp up to the F sharp, and then we go up a little bit further to the B. So we're going from the root to the 7 chord, and then we're going above the octave to what would be the 3 chord, but an octave higher, so you can consider it like the 10th. And then we're dropping down a half step to the B flat, which is not in the key of G minor, or G sharp minor rather, and then we're landing back on the F sharp. So it's a very unique arpeggiation of the root, 7, 10th, and then down a half step chromatically to the B flat. And it just sounds good, right? It's not necessarily an unsettled vibe, but it is a very spaced out voicing, and it leaves for a lot of mysteriousness to it. The next section starts on B, right? That's the part where we shift a little bit. There's your B note right there. We go B to F sharp, up to B flat again, back to the F sharp. So we're keeping with the theme that we started on the first part where it goes F sharp, B, B flat, F sharp. We're keeping that, but we're starting on B. So our root is changing. And by changing that root note and keeping everything else the same, we create a combination of the theme that the ear can rely on in the last part of the run, but with that altered bass note, that starting note being different every time, there's a sense of movement and color, right? So we start off on the G sharp, we go to the B. The next section we're going to do is, again, continuing, but now we're changing the root to F sharp. And then finally ending on E, right? I just kind of modified that ending part, but you get the idea. So the same 4-note pattern of F sharp, B, B flat, F sharp carries through the different changes for those four rounds. But what's different are those roots, right? And those roots essentially dictate what the chords would be, even though the top parts are all the same and the chords would be different. We're essentially going through a root on G sharp, which would be the 1 chord. Then we're going through the B, which would be the 3 chord. Then we're going to the F sharp, which is the 7. And then we go to the E, which is the 6. So there's 3 major chords there in the B, F sharp, and E, being the 3, 6, and 7 of the minor scale, and then that first note being the G sharp minor. All right. I hope that made sense to everybody. It's one hell of a tune. It's a long one. It's like 20 minutes long, but it is a classic Dream Theater track. If anybody has any questions, comments, requests, leave them below. Hit like, hit subscribe. Remember, subscribing is free. If you like what I'm doing, show me some support, and I'll keep doing it. Thanks, guys. Take care.